The restaurant was the kind of place where silence was expensive. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, and white-gloved staff who moved like shadows. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of small moments to change lives, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness True Stories. Also, tell us in the comments where in the world are you watching from. Marco De Luca, one of Italy's wealthiest men, sat at the center table with his mother, Senora Elena De Luca, a woman who had built her son's empire from the ground up with nothing but sacrifice and prayers. She was 81 years old, sharp-eyed and regal. Everyone in that room knew her name, and everyone was terrified of her. Business partners rehearsed their words before approaching. Executives trembled when she glanced their way. Even Marco, with all his billions, straightened his tie when his mother entered the room. She had not spoken a word since sitting down. She simply looked around, and the room responded by going quieter. The staff moved faster. The manager sweated through his collar. Nobody wanted to make a mistake in front of Senora Elena. Then a young waitress named Sophia walked to the table. She was new, barely 3 weeks on the job, wearing a plain black uniform that was slightly too big for her small frame. She carried the menus with both hands, the way someone does when they are trying very hard to be careful. The manager watched from across the room with tight eyes, ready to intervene at any mistake. Sophia placed the menus gently and looked directly at the old woman. Then she said something that stopped the entire room. In a soft, clear voice, she spoke in Neapolitan dialect, the old southern Italian tongue that very few still used. The language of fishermen and grandmothers and Sunday kitchens, she said. Signora, come sta il suo cuore stasera? Signora, how is your heart this evening? Not your order, not your preference, your heart. Senora Elena's eyes widened. Her lips parted slowly. That dialect had not entered her ears since her own mother died 40 years ago, in a small village outside Naples. It was not something taught in schools or spoken in high society. It lived only in memories, in the mouths of those who had grown up in the same narrow streets, the same stone houses, the same world she had left behind when she was 19. She stared at the girl for a long moment. Then her eyes filled with tears, quietly, without drama, the way old people cry when something reaches them too deep for performance. She reached out and touched Sophia's hand. Mia cara, she whispered, my dear. Marco watched his mother's face transform completely. In 60 years of life, he had seen her command boardrooms, dismiss powerful men, and hold her grief like iron. He had never seen her soften like this. Not in public, not in seconds. He looked at Sophia with new eyes. He asked her gently where she had learned that dialect. Sophia explained that her grandmother was from the same region as the Signora, from a village just a few kilometers away. She had grown up listening to stories, learning the old words, carrying the language like a keepsake. She had recognized Senora Elena from a photograph her grandmother kept, a photograph of a young girl from the neighborhood who had gone on to build a great life. The table went completely still. Marco felt something he had not felt in years, the sensation that life was arranging itself around something important, that this moment was not accidental. His mother looked at him and said in Italian, "This girl has good roots." Good roots mean everything. Over the next weeks, Sophia was called back to the restaurant each time the Signora visited. They spoke for hours in that old dialect. Two women separated by 60 years, but connected by a language that refused to die. Marco found himself arriving early, sitting nearby, listening to his mother laugh in a way he had missed desperately. He began to understand that wealth had given him everything except what this girl had given his mother in one sentence: the feeling of being truly seen. Sophia never tried to impress anyone. She simply showed up with respect, with memory, and with love for something old and beautiful. And in doing so, she walked into a billionaire's world and stole the most guarded heart in the room. Not his, but his mother's. That was worth more than any fortune. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel Kindness True Stories, where every story reminds us that small acts of Genuine kindness hold the greatest power of all.